down to the feature match area for our next round at GP Birmingham. Hello, my friends, and welcome to continued coverage of GP Birmingham. It is time for some win and in magic. That means that all the players you're going to see this round are in to day number 2 if they can win this round. My name's Ronnie Knight. I'm joined by the Pro Tour Hall of Famer Raphael Levy. Raf, great to have you along today.
Good morning.
Good morning, good afternoon. And on your screen here we have Autumn Burchett, the English national champion from last year, against Marco Dogana. Now, I think Burchett, she is on Grixis Delver.
All right.
I think that's the intel from the tournament floor, although it remains to be seen. Looks like Dogana is getting at least involved in 3 colours here as well. Looks like some Sultai action on his side of the battlefield. Tarmogoyf.
That's the first Tarmogoyf I see today.
Yeah, this card has not been around. We've seen 2 drops of different types favoured.
It's because the other 2 drop actually beats Tarmogoyf.
Is that a...
Strix.
which one?
Strix.
Baleful Strix, yep. Young Pyromancer, also very good against Tarmogoyf.
Yep. That's probably why we've seen a little...
yeah. Kind of fallen off the map a little bit here.
It's not big enough.
So the probe now for Burchett. See what she follows it up with here. Wouldn't be surprised to see some Baleful Strixes from her. Certainly dressed for the occasion with the owls all over her shirt there. We'll see what she's up to here. Polluted Delta.
What other bird could she be playing?
Swan Song. Sometimes it gets playing Legacy.
Yeah.
I don't know what other Legacy playable birds there are. And an Underground Sea now.
Birds. Maybe the 3/1 flash. The Stifle.
Oh, yeah, Nimble Obstructionist.
Yeah.
Another bird. Yep. But it's going to be just a Death Ride Shaman. Just a Death Ride Shaman here
Not a
for
bird.
Burchett. Not a bird, but a very powerful card all the same here.
Another kind of bird.
A bird of a different feather.
Yeah.
For sure. Yep.
A walking bird. With
walking bird.
No wings.
Birds of Paradise has certainly been eclipsed by this card. Death Ride Shaman just does it all. An almost ubiquitous inclusion in all of the blue decks here in Legacy. And we'll see what Burchett's going to get up to with her third turn here. Let's kick things off with the Ponder, looks like. Yep, all right. 3 cards off the top. Let's see what we're looking at here. Force of Will, at least. And let's see what's up here. So we're going to keep no shuffling. No shuffling here. And the follow-up play for Burchett. English national champion, as we mentioned. Led England to a reasonable Day 2 finish at the World Magic Cup last year. But couldn't quite make that top 8.
So she does shuffle.
Oh, with the Polluted Delta. Okay.
So
like
she
to look
got,
one
she
of those
got,
cards
she
at least.
got the card she wanted, and then she can shuffle the 2 other cards.
So, let's see what Burchett can find here. Another Underground Sea. Slower second turn here for her. Certainly putting the deck through its paces. And as we have a look at her deck list, Raph, looks like a pretty standard Grixis Delver list. There is, of course, a little bit of spice. There's 1 copy of Kolaghan's Command joining a single Spell Pierce in the main. But apart from that, seems to be a pretty standard list. 3 Young Pyromancer. And, of course, Bronda, Painstorm, Ponder, Brainstorm, Probe, and Force of Will, or all as 4 obs, and 4 copies of Days as well.
And the Delver of Secrets.
Seems to be that Marco Dogana, her opponent here, is on, looks like just straight 3-color Delver here. Salto Delver, Bug Delver. And kicking it old school with 2 copies of Tombstalker as well. Liliana, the Last Hope, is a card that's really risen in my estimation this weekend, Raf. We've seen it played in black decks of all kinds. I guess the +1 ability, just really, really good in the Legacy format right now.
Yeah, it replaced the other.
Liliana the Veil.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 1 excellent against all the young Pyromancers of the format. 1 garbage against it.
Man Delvers. And that's it, right? Pyromancer, Delver. Snapcaster Mages.
Yeah, knocks out a Baleful Strix.
Baleful Strix.
Yep. Fatal Push is failing to knock out anything here as Burchett has the daze to protect her team. And now a Deathrite Shaman. This one's going to resolve. We're going to Wasteland to take care of that Underground Sea from Burchett there. So let's see what's up
reveals.
now. Never lucky.
Never love.
Never lucky. Young
The
Pyromancer,
yeah.
young Pyromancer in hand here. And of course can be played thanks to that Deathrite Shaman. No lands, no worries.
Who need lands?
Who needs lands?
There's a probe to make a token on the same turn.
So, Wasty hits the exile zone, and here is Young Pyromancer, Young Peasy. In he comes. And followed up with the Gataxian Probe, targeting you. Let's see what you're working with. So we saw that Abrupt Decay before, we saw that Tarmogoyf before, Brainstorm, another Deathrite Shaman, and a Wasteland.
It's a lot of gas.
A lot of fuel to chuck on this fire here for Dagana.
So one of the reasons she exiled a land in Marco's graveyard and not in her own was to keep Tombstalker away from the battlefield. Because Tombstalker would require cards to be exiled from Marco's graveyard. And that's a way to keep it away.
So, Burchett now.
Oh,
We're going to see a lightning bolt on the
very good follow up.
So Dagana has a nice full hand full of action, but I don't know how much he's going to be able to deploy to the board next turn, Raph.
Well, only one card. I don't think he can play the Abrupt Decay. I don't think he has the mana to
no,
decay.
He's got a Wasteland in hand, so he can't even cast this Tarmogoyf.
Can he even cast anything?
He's got a Brainstorm.
That's one thing.
But he's still pretty light on action here.
That doesn't help.
Jeez, Professor Burchett taking him to school. Here's the Wasteland. Playing around days expertly. But Dagana, geez, a bit of a rock and a hard play situation for him now. Is this a Fatal Push?
Yeah, that was a very good turn for Autumn.
Yeah, she did really well here.
Yeah.
So just the Deathrite Shaman, which we saw previously. And chips now.
No,
Back to
no
last
waste.
year's English national champion. And flips to a Force. It's rough stuff for Dagana now. Got some attacks here for Burchett.
So I'm trying to figure out why he didn't waste the Underground Sea. Does he really need that land? Like he could have wasted on Autumn's upkeep.
Mm-hmm.
I see. Now, were they tapped the Shaman last turn?
Both were, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Both
so
were
then
used for mana.
he could have done it any time he
Okay.
wanted. Because I could see why he wouldn't do it on his turn, because there's not a lot of lands in the graveyard, so
Yeah.
he needs lands to hit the graveyard at some point to use his, because Autumn's Shamans are just gonna eat all the lands.
All the lands, yeah. There are only
Yeah.
2 in the graveyards at the moment. You can see the bottom left of your screen, Polluted Delta, Underground Sea, hanging out in Burchett's graveyard there. Dagana. It's going to be a Brainstorm. Has to find something very special because right now, oh my goodness me.
Oh yeah, and she can just exile a land in response.
Mm. Yeah, because it's not part of
Yeah.
paying the cost, yeah.
Yeah.
So at the moment-
keep Marcos as Shaman to do anything.
And this is the weird interaction with because it's not a typical mana ability.
Yeah.
A mana ability is only such if it doesn't target and adds mana to your pool. And of course, the Shaman's ability does target. I just realized as well, we talked about Ground Seal in that previous thing.
Yeah.
Also shuts
Oh,
off
yeah.
Deathrite Shaman.
Was it relevant in that match?
No.
Did
End of Olsen didn't have a Deathrite
no,
Shaman.
not in play, but in the deck probably.
Probably.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Ground Seal's not a bad one.
Yeah, it's good.
It's not a bad one. So Burchett now doing a bit of a number on Dagana's life total here as that Fatal Push hits the exile zone. We'll see what she's got cooking for this turn. Colligan's Command as well.
Well, she was in a pretty good spot already.
But now this is just going to make it even better here because, of course, if we can blow up that Death Ride Shaman, that means that Burchett's going to be able to get in with the entire team should she so choose.
I would probably exile it in response.
Yeah, we're going to see that
So
happen
she
here.
uses both of them to for 1 mana, and then Marco will be able to use his Shaman on his turn, 4 mana,
So 2 lands in the bin right now.
unless it dies. to
Unless
Kolaghan's command.
unless it does the Kolaghan's command, which I would say is likely. I would say it is likely here. So 1 mana floating for Burchett. She hunts out for an Underground Sea. So you'd imagine a red in pool. And what do you reckon here? 2 damage discard.
Yeah, I think that's probably the play.
No creatures to regrow here for Burchett. And no artifacts to target. So,
Yeah, it's a lot of
so easy game here.
It's a lot of value here.
Easy game, easy life.
Get a token, kill this for Shaman, discard a card. There's no artifact, so nothing to destroy, nothing to bring back. Pretty straightforward play here.
So another 1/1 here for Burchett as well, thanks to this Kolaghan's command. And Young Pyromancer, once again, the reason it is such a powerhouse in Legacy is that, you know, this card's modern playable. It doesn't see that much play in Modern, but the reason it's such a powerhouse in Legacy is that it is rewarding players for doing what they want to do anyway, and we're going to see here, it's helped Burchett take this game completely. And Dagana, he never really looked to be in it.
Well, Pyromancer was played at the last PT.
Sure, but
Modern
it's not the powerhouse it is in Legacy and Modern.
Yeah, because the spells cost more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but what I'm saying is, a Legacy deck would be doing that anyway, right? Like a Legacy deck is already playing Ponder, Brainstorm, Force of Will, Daze, all these cheap spells.
That's right.
Whereas in Modern, if you want to play Pyromancer, you have to build the entire deck around it.
I see, but it's also the idea of Modern is to not be able to do that.
Yeah.
And that's why Ponder...
Preordain, all these other cards are banned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If these guys were still in Modern, you'd probably see a lot more Pyromancers.
All it took was Treasure Cruise, right? Remember Treasure Cruise?
Treasure Cruise, yeah.
It was a single draw card,
Yep.
right? And that was enough to spawn this ridiculous Young
Yeah,
Pyromancer deck. So, yeah, I think it's more about the supporting cast
Yeah.
than the card itself. And it certainly does have a great supporting cast here in Legacy. Let's have a look at the sideboards for both of these players here. Marco Dagana's list is in front of us here, Raf.
Yeah, so basically they took out all the Ponders, Treasure Cruise, and Preordain to keep Young Pyromancer in check.
And check.
that's the only reason. Not because they're cheap.
Nah, not because they're cheap
library
impressive.
manipulations, yeah.
They just realized that Young Pyromancer
Would
is
be too good, so
the real
they
enemy here.
banned them.
Let's have a look at Dagana's sideboard. Raf, what's catching your eye here for game number 2 here for him?
So the question is he going to keep the Force of Wills? This is always the question, pretty much. I would probably take them out and bring in some removal, Toxic Deluge, Golgari Charm, and let's see what else. Maybe Life from the Loam as well to bring back Wasteland.
Mm-hmm.
I think attacking the mana base is pretty important.
Good way to go when you're stretched across these 3 colors in the same way, in the way that Burchett's deck is. 0 basics generally in these Grixis Delver lists, and technically 4 colors in order to activate the green on Death Ride Shaman. But how often does that really come up?
Yeah,
very, very little. On the other side of the table, on the left-hand side of your table, Alden Burchett, as we mentioned, English national champion from last year. She's got 1 Flusterstorm, 1 Hydroblast, 1 Liliana, 1 Ancient Grudge, 1 Price of Progress. Wow, burn them out from range, huh? And then 3 copies of Surgical and Cabal Therapy, and then 2 Diabolic Edicts and 2 Pyroblasts. What do you like on Burchett's side of things?
I guess Liliana is okay.
That's Liliana the Last Hope. I should have mentioned.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Pyroblast, you board in Pyroblast? Probably. To kill Delvers, to counter Leovold. And maybe to get around Force of Wills if Marcos decides to keep them in.
I just think that's such a bad move, keeping in your forces,
No, I think I would take them out.
Yeah.
I think Force of Wills is only very good against decks that want to kill you very fast.
Yeah. Again, a necessary evil, one of the ways to make sure you're not just losing on turn 1 to something like a Goblin Charbelcher.
Or Show and Tell.
or oops, all spells from some of that silly nonsense. Force it will one
What's
of
that
the.
again?
It's a okay. So it's a deck that uses
You
balustrade.
can't just throw that out there. And
So you don't know that silly combo deck?
please tell me about
it's
it.
It's a deck that uses balustrade. So it plays no lands.
Okay.
And it uses Balustrade Spy, which is a card from Return to Ravnica, which mills out a player until they hit a land, right? So they mill cards from the top of their library until they hit a land, and they don't play any lands. So it's oops, all spells. They mill their entire graveyard, or their entire library into their graveyard, and then use Narcomoebas and Dread Returns to bring back like a Laboratory Maniac and a Lady Azami, and you can draw cards. You draw cards with an empty library and you win.
Cool.
I didn't say it was good.
Cool.
I didn't say it was good, man.
I don't think it's Lady Azami.
No, is it not?
It's Azami, Lady of Scrolls.
Oh, Azami Lady of Scrolls. All right. Excuse me.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me. Right now, however, we are not looking at fringe combo decks in Legacy. We are looking at two of the best decks in the format. Grixis Delver versus Sultai Delver here. Grixis versus Bug, as many people know it. So we'll see how things go in game number 2. Autumn Burchett picking up game number 1 very handily indeed. And now we'll see what happens with the post-board matches. Things not the texture of the matchup not changing too much. Still very tempo-focused game between these two. And we'll see who gets the better of it now as these players consult their opening hands. Looks like they're having a think about it here. Is it Dagana who's considering?
I don't know. I think they are just chatting.
Okay. Well,
do
Burchett
you want to play now? So just play first. No, sure. We'll play.
Burchett scries to the bottom. And Dagana now leads things off with a Misty into an Underground Sea. We'll see who are these first players. A Deathrite Shaman, a good way to start. Maybe a Delver. It is going to be the Deathrite Shaman. Funny how Delver, Delver has been the archetypical Legacy card for a long time. It's spawned these archetypes around it, that sort of thing. But I think dominated now, the texture of Legacy play is dominated by Deathrite Shaman.
I think Desert Shaman is just better. It's just a better card.
Sultai Shaman?
Does more stuff. Huh?
Deathrite Grixis is maybe what we should be calling it.
You call it whatever you want.
All right. And a fatal push on the opposing Deathrite Shaman here is bad news for Burchett. Dagana ships. And it looked like Burchett had the days, but unfortunately Dagana with second land in order to play around that. It's unfortunate for her.
Unfortunately, no side taken. You're not taking any sides. Oh, unfortunately.
Unfortunately for Burchett, certainly.
Oh, yeah, okay. I see.
Burchett does have a Diabolic Edict in hand.
End of turn, Marco decides not to shoot for 2.
Okay.
Maybe to keep a counter backup.
So Burchett has chosen to Edict here in the upkeep. Why is that?
Because I guess if Marco has a counter, he would be tapping on his turn.
So better to make him use his mana on his turn.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
And he would have been able to do that anyway.
On in the end step, sure. Okay. So tie up the mana for an extra turn there. That's smart stuff there.
If he doesn't have a counter to protect the Desert Shaman, I don't understand why he didn't shoot Autumn.
Yeah. Just get it.
So maybe I'm just missing something.
Just get in there while you can.
Likely.
Here's a Ponder. Burchett with the Wasteland. It's funny how we see these mana bases stretched to the limit and then they have 4 colorless lands in there. Just shows how important Wasteland is.
Or maybe he wants to keep his Fatal Push for a Snapcaster Mage.
Okay.
But he does not play Snapcaster Mage. So I'm not sure about it.
So Delver off of that Ponder and a Trop now to cast it. Dagana presumably with the answers for it. 3 mana and nothing doing. Very suspicious, Raph. Very suspicious.
I see. He has got Golgari Charm in hand.
Ooh.
So he wanted to keep the 2 mana to regenerate. That's why he didn't shoot.
Oh, right.
See, fine. Yeah, I get it now.
Okay. Here's a Delver of Secrets now for Autumn Burchett. That's going to get eaten up by Golgari Charm if Dagana chooses. It looks like an activation of Wasteland as well is on the cards here.
Obviously, he couldn't regenerate the shaman to keep it from dying to the edict. Because Diabolic Edict says that it sacrifices a creature.
Double fetch now for Dagana. Finds an underground sea.
Tropical Island.
Gonna round that out maybe with a trop. Yep, we'll see what happens here.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect mana.
If you're a Soul Tide. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, not so great if you're playing Boros aggro.
No, not too good.
Not great. Yeah, I mean, you can cast your Bomat Courier, I guess.
Hard to cast your Lightning Helix with that mana.
And Dagana now. He's got to do something. Going to commit to the board now with a Leovold, but that's going to run straight into Burchett's days here.
Always have it.
They always have it. Back to Burchett, and she flips the Delver as well. Simple as that. Easy game, easy life here for Burchett. Brainstorm off the top, Force of Will in hand, and firing on all cylinders. In for 3. Dagana down to 17, or is it down to 14 now?
I have to say the checklist card under the Delver.
Yeah.
Not a big fan.
No, you don't like it?
No, I don't like it.
Oh,
looks
no.
like it's enchanted.
Oh, yeah. It's
and I hate that when and I hate that when I'm attacked by a creature and they tap the enchantment with it. I hate it.
Or maybe they've attached some equipment to it and they tap
and
the
they tap
equipment
everything.
as well.
That tilts me so bad.
What about if someone pops a Utopia Sprawl on a forest and then taps
and
the
tap
Utopia
everything.
Sprawl?
I cringe every time.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you're ever paired against Raph Levy at any kind of Premier Play event, you know how to get up in his brain zone.
Oh yeah, that's I lose it. I totally lose it.
Imagine if we're on a team and they're playing mismatch basics with the tapped Utopia Sprawl.
No, that would bother you more than me. Probably.
We would both. Well, no, if we're on a team, imagine that. We
Yeah.
would die of a collective brain aneurysm.
All right, because that's what happens when you're tilted. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you have a brain aneurysm. I've had a brain aneurysm. It's not fun.
Well, I can imagine.
It's not fun at all.
I can imagine. Does it feel like a brainstorm?
Doesn't feel like a brainstorm. Here's a Grim Lavamancer.
Another one of that's probably the third shaman. It does about the same thing. It kind of relies on your graveyard.
Yeah.
Shoots for 2.
Yeah, sure.
Doesn't make mana.
Doesn't make mana, but it's very handy. I mean,
It
the
also,
fact that
also dies to Liliana, the Last Hope.
it does also die very nicely.
The first one doesn't.
Liliana, the Last Hope, but it's going to be a Force of Will here for Burchett, protecting her little Grim Lavamancer there.
Right.
A lot of that's very dangerous. Look at all that lava flying around. He's going to get burnt up.
Yeah. Do you like the little familiar on the? It's a little familiar on his.
Oh, he's got a little lizard there, mate.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah, that's the. I think what's the name? Lavamancer's familiar. There's a card like this. It's a 1/1
Probably.
for 1. Doesn't do much.
I don't agree with his flavor text. Fools dig for water, corpses, or gold. Corpse is fine. I don't think fools dig for gold. I mean, a lot of people have been very wealthy by digging for gold. The Earthreal treasure is far deeper. Yes, it's iron core. Extract that from the earth and you'll be the richest person on earth.
Yeah, look it up. The Lavamancer's familiar. I think it's a little guy there.
Yeah?
Yeah. Look it up. It's cute. It's a cute lizard.
So, with Burchett managing to essentially keep a stranglehold on this game here.
It's a 4-turn clock.
And examining both graveyards here is Burchett. A careful and considered player. Certainly taking her time with these players. And we're going to see Ponder and... Is it a Death Ride Shaman? Get you for 2 upstairs. Let's have a look now. And see what's up with this next turn.
Grab decay on the Delver, I think. Or the Lavamancer. Yep.
Okay. Lavamancer lives to fight another day.
Yeah, it's a bigger clock than the Lavamancer.
Dagana down to 9. Followed up with Young Pyromancer. That's a nice one here from Burchett.
Yeah. Haven't seen
Dogana.
what he has in hand. Dogana.
Oh no.
Golgari Charm.
Golgari Charm. And he can pay for days.
For weeks.
Birchett probably has 2 though. She only got 1 card in hand, but she's probably got 2.
Yeah.
She probably got 2 dazes. So look at that. That is a nice, tidy, honest 2 for 1 there. Golgari
Set the
Charm
board, yeah.
putting in work, resetting the board. Birchett with 1 card in hand. Does Dogana have a follow-up play? Something like a Deathrite Charm would be huge here. Even a Delver? No, it's a
Whoa.
Wasteland. Oh no.
So keeping Autumn out of black mana for
Yeah.
to cast the Desert Shaman.
Just the lonely Volk here for Birchett. What she found, a Gataxian Probe. Pay life. Let's have a look at what you're working with. Life from the Loam and and a Tarmogoyf as well. Here's some action.
That's if she doesn't draw anything now, she's dead.
This is better stuff from
This
Dogana.
It's bad news. Wasteland.
Can start casting Life from the Loam, bringing
Yeah.
back Wastelands, casting Tarmogoyfs to get in there.
No, first I would probably destroy the volcanic island.
Mm-hmm. Life from the Loam, a spicy one of in the board, and I tell you what, as a late game engine here for Dogana, it's going to be huge. Recurring Wastelands every turn is no joke. So going to kick things off here. It's going to be Life from the Loam. Wasteland almost certainly. What else can we bring back here? Delta and a Misty. Nope, Underground Sea instead.
Yeah,
All right.
just 2 cards for a future brainstorm
Mm-hmm.
to put back on top.
Oh yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? It's bonkers. So you just Wasteland immediately, you don't commit further?
I don't think so. I think you just Wasteland here. You could play Tarmogoyf here, but keeping Autumn out of mana is just so much better.
Wasteland also, of course, can't be countered, but it's going to be a Tarmogoyf instead here, Raph. Dogana wants to put some pressure on it. He may be punished for it here because giving Birchett another turn to use her mana efficiently and maybe face down this Tarmogoyf. And it's a Diabolic Eating Hand with a led by
Daze,
a
that's
Daze.
great.
Fantastic for Marco Dogana here.
That's great. I think that's, yeah. That could be, the Autumn might be thinking about what she could do now.
I mean, is there anything?
She's far behind.
Long way behind, getting Wastelanded into oblivion from here on out. A Deathrite Shaman to start this party. But it doesn't look like many people are going to turn up because Dogana has got a Life from the Loam, dredging it. 1, Spell Pierce. 2, Deathrite Shaman. 3, Leovold Emissary of Trest. And now Dogana can just loop his Wasteland every turn.
Well, this turn, she's going to lose all her lands. Because he's going to Wasteland, Life from the Loam, Wasteland again. Leaving Autumn with only 1 party guy.
One lonely party goer. He's got a little party popper in his hand.
That's the smallest
Got
party you can
a
have.
party hat on his head, yep. And that
What's it-
means that, look at this, a one-sided Armageddon here. This Life from the Loam is just doing so much work.
How many people do you need for a party? 1 is the minimum, right?
I guess 1 is, I mean, it's a
That's-
very sad party there. 5-6 Tarmogoyf. And Birchett staring down the barrel of a gun here in a volcanic island. Oh, can't activate the Deathrite Shaman. And now in comes Tarmogoyf once again. Doing its Direfleet Ravager impersonation here and knocking a third off of Birchett's life total. And after having one game won, looks like she might be going down in the second game. We're going to see another Tarmogoyf. 1 turn clock here for her.
Well, she can block, so...
Nope.
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 Just sacrifice the guy.
Sacrifice it. Pack him up. Go
Doesn't-
to game number 2.
Doesn't
Game
like
number
the
3.
party. Doesn't like the party.
Don't like party. Party's over. Cops have arrived. People running out through the vaulting over the back fence. And that's that. That is game number 2 here. Splitting the difference. Marco Dogana went at 1-1. And both these players going to consult the sideboards once again. So we can see what they're working with there. But I mean, I tell you what, it was a card out of the sideboard for Marco Dogana that really won him that game. Life from the Loam there was just ridiculous in conjunction with those Wastelands.
Golgari Charm was also
Very good.
very good, yeah.
So sideboarding does play a big match, a big aspect of these post-board matches. I mean, it doesn't change things hugely. We're only bringing in a couple of cards, maybe 3 or 4, but it does make a big difference to the texture of the match when these cards are drawn, because again, Golgari Charm against Young Pyromancer is huge. When you've got a Life from the Loam and a Wasteland in your bin, it's crazy good.
They turned the matchup into more proactive cards.
Okay.
By taking out the Force of Wills, that I assume they both did.
No, Autumn Burchett did not. We saw.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Marco probably did. We haven't seen.
No, we didn't see any forces from him.
So he's a lot more proactive.
Which I like.
Yeah, me too. So he can take off creatures more easily as a 1-for-1 or 1-for-2, as we've seen with Golgari Charm.
Ooh, so tasty.
That was spicy, yeah. So more action. I like more action in these circumstances.
Looks like Burchett may be looking to make some changes here.
And on the play, Force of Will on the play, I don't know.
No.
It's like 2 less cards.
Just bin it, man. Let's get it out of here.
Like, what do you do when they play turn 1 Destroy Champion and don't have a removal? Do you Force of Will?
Well, this is the debate, isn't it?
I don't like it. I'd rather have like more removal.
Just rather have like the disfigure or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or more edicts, more.
While these players are sideboarding, let's have a look at the standings here at the end of round number 5. You can see still obviously quite a number of players that are undefeated. Mark Tobias, the captain of the German team at the last WMC, is leading the charge at the moment. We've got Pascal Vieira, the Belgian, as well, and Nicholas Holtman as well, another German player who's doing very well for himself. And there he is, Gucci Boy, at 15 points. Andre Mangucci hasn't dropped a match yet. Gary Campbell, the Scottish Godfather, also getting it done for Team Scotland. On our second table here, Andrew Rayner, another Scot. Autumn Burchett, the Englishwoman you've seen on your screen. A couple of other names you might have already seen. We've seen Joseba Garcia and Tobias meet on coverage already.
And Kowalski.
And Gregor Kowalski also getting it done here. And we can continue to move now all the way through. Plenty of undefeated players here, as we see Andreas Gans, the Austrian, and Andreas Holm as well. A couple of Andreases that people might know. And there's Marco Dogana, our good friend on the coverage this round. So plenty of players still chasing towards that day 2 finish, and a win this round will lock it up for them, Raf.
So yeah, day 2 finish, probably a better day 1 finish. A day 2 start.
Oh, day 2 start, sorry. Yeah. A day 2 qualification.
Yeah.
Excuse me. 1,000 pardons. Game number 3 coming your way live from GP Birmingham. My name's Riley Knight. It's great to have your company. It's great to have the company of Raphael Levy, the Pro Tour Hall of Famer. He's out of France. Made the jaunt over the ditch to come and join us here.
Over the La Manche.
La Manche?
Yes.
What does that mean?
It's the channel.
The channel. Is that what you call it?
The sea.
The sea?
Yeah.
What's it?
La Manche.
La Manche. Is that? Oh, it's not a nickname.
That's a name. That's actually the name of the sleeve.
The sleeve.
Yeah. La Manche means the sleeve in English.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I knew you were talking about the English channel.
Yeah.
I assumed it has a nickname because it's got a nickname in English as well, doesn't it?
Probably the sleeve.
The I don't know. The thing that has secured Britain's sovereignty as a nation for the last 1,000 years, I assume, is what you'd call it.
Anyway, I've flown over that one.
You flew over it?
Yeah, I flew over it, yeah.
All right, there you go. Well, it's great to have you along. Great to have you along around the world wherever you are. That's right, you at home, the viewer, revered viewer. It's great to have your company as we bring you 2 days of legacy coverage. And then after that, if you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got a brand new standard format to showcase on Sunday as well. A 3-day GP. Raf, we're pretty stoked to be bringing it to people around the world.
It's going to be 3 long but fun days.
Oh, yeah. Here's a Delver of Secrets. What's that enchanted with, Raf?
A what?
What's that Delver of Secrets enchanted with, mate?
Enchanted?
It's enchanted with something. Look at that.
Oh, yeah, the checklist card. Yeah.
With a skin invasion? Is it perhaps enchanted with a town gossip monger?
But you have to tap it when you attack. That's the thing.
Neglected heirloom?
Look at this.
Raf is hating it, ladies and gentlemen. He's just hating it. Those checklist cards, for those of you who haven't drafted a double-faced card set before, you would have seen them in Ixalan as well, but in Innistrad is where it all kicked off, and that was how you played with it. That was how you played with them. You marked that checklist card if you were playing without sleeves or with sleeves that were a little bit translucent. And a Ponder now to follow things up for Burchett. You would think that would set up the flipping of the Delver for next turn. No. Oh, yes. There's an edict.
You would be right.
There's an edict. All right. So True Name Nemesis, Fetch Land, and an edict to round out those 3. And Burchett having a good old think about things before she plops those 3 back on the top of the library.
And shuffle. No shuffle.
Wasteland. And we are going to wasteland this underground sea.
What the cool thing here, there could have been a cool interaction. That did not happen.
Okay.
But in response to Wasteland, if Marco had a Fatal Push, for example, he could play Fatal Push on the Delver. And if Autumn had a Daze of her own, she would have Daze. But then Marco would have Daze on his turn, saving the land from being wastelanded.
Oh, right, yeah.
So that's something to keep in mind when you chain your spells.
Yeah, sure. That's important.
Yeah.
Well, right now we have this Delver flipping into the Insectile Aberration here for Burchett.
That's something you could have done at some point with Gush. Like saving your lands from Wasteland with Gush. But Daze is not as easy to cast as a Gush.
Gush, another one of those cards that is a little bit too good for Legacy.
A little bit too good, yeah.
A little bit too good. But of course, legal in Pauper. Pauper, one of those cards where you can, one of those formats where you can play all these broken blue cards.
Pauper is probably Legacy on steroids. Kinda.
Well, it's all I mean,
it makes you sick, but they'll get the steroids.
Okay, all right. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah,
Here's him to Turak.
Yeah.
And a Flooded Strand cracking here for Autumn Burchett. She may have something to say about this.
Daze.
This him.
Is there Daze?
Don't daze me.
Bro.
Don't daze me, bro, she's saying. Finds an underground sea. You can be a hard cast daze? Surely not.
You could, but then you might be facing a Daze of your own.
Sensor mode. Activate.
Yeah.
Yeah, hard cast daze. All right.
2-mana counterspell.
Sure. Just sensor with a downside. Doesn't have the cycling. Back to Burchett now. In for 3 once again. It's been pointed out to us, Raph, that tapping the checklist card is actually in the rules. You have to do it. You actually have to do it.
Oh, wow.
It's in the rules, man.
I don't like these rules.
You don't like these rules?
But you have to keep the checklist card on the board.
I don't know. I actually don't know about that part, but I do know you have to check you have to tap the checklist card.
Oh, man. I don't like these rules.
True Name Nemesis, naming you.
I mean, your face.
Well, I'd hope that Burchett would name more than just the face, because otherwise, no, Dogana can just play his cards from his hand rather than putting him in his mouth and pointing at the True Name Nemesis. Third land here for Dogana continues to develop his mana in the face of that oncoming wasteland from Burchett. Hasn't really been too hamstrung by these things, and here is a Leovold.
That's actually not doing much here on this board. Autumn has 6 damage, 6 unblockable damage of her creatures.
Yes, the True Name Nemesis can't be blocked by Dogana's creatures. And as a result, this is a very quick clock here. Burchett doesn't really have to do anything other than turn these creatures sideways, right?
No, just wait and see what happens. Also, Diabolic Edict in her hands to take care of Leovold.
Dogana on 6.
But Marco would still draw a card off Diabolic Edict because it targets a player. Target player, I think.
No, just a permanent.
Whenever you are permanent, you control becomes a
target. You're right. You
are
right. It's written there on the screen. I should read the card.
It's also in English.
It is also in English.
So you can understand.
I don't have any excuses, Raph. Any excuses, mate.
Just pointing it out.
Back to Dogana now. He's got 1 turn. He's got 1 turn.
Attack for 3, which is pretty irrelevant at this point. He needs to deal with the board.
Three mana now from Dogana.
Liliana. With Autumn with Call Against Command in hand, Liliana does not do anything. Because Liliana will make the Delver smaller. But the command will deal 2 damage to Marco.
The final 2.
The final 2, yeah.
Yep.
So unless there's some kind of counterspell in Marco's hand.
We could be seeing this game end right here, right now. Burchett with the goods. Is it going to be enough here, Raph? We'll see.
Nothing end of turn.
So attacks That Delver is just a 1-1. Dagana takes 4.
Marco will still draw a card
Okay, all right.
of
Off the emissary.
Emissary, yeah.
Mhm.
That's probably why she didn't fire it end of turn.
So a lethal burn spell in the hands of Autumn Burchett.
Yeah. I guess you could just swipe, see what happens.
No reason to fire it off just yet.
No.
All right.
Just playing it safe, kind of.
Playing it safe by the water here.
And that's when you lose these games, you're like, man, I should have fired it at some point. When I could, I should have fired it. If there's nothing, you just leave some extra turns. Like, yeah, there's probably a window where they're gonna tap out. Oh, well, I'm gonna be sure
Yeah.
it's gonna hit, and then it never happens.
So what do you think of the old axiom that you should, when you're ahead, you play conservatively, and when you're behind, you play aggressively? What do you think of that?
I don't know, because whenever I play conservatively when I'm ahead,
Yeah.
that's when you lose.
That's when you get punished?
Yeah. Always 100% of the time when I lose, I get punished.
Man, I'm sorry. Well, leave old Emissary Tres going to get some lunch. Look at this. Getting in.
Oh, set on chalk would be a lot better.
That would change things a little bit.
You would lose a lot of rep points as well if you keep the set on chalk like this.
Oh, yeah. Just jam it. Stop the slow roll.
No, okay. Oh, now you're coming back. Oh, not attacking. Okay, go. Oh, so unlucky. Forgot to attack.
Here's a Tarmogoyf on the stack where Burchett looks to have a response. 1-2 mana, not going for the Colligan's command. It's going to be an Edict target you. Dagana does get to draw a card and is going to draw a card. Trying to bait Dagana into tapping out here. Tarmogoyf. Yep.
Yeah, well, that still doesn't help against the True Name Nemesis.
It does not. So Dagana has to have... I mean, what gets him out of this? A Golgari Charm? A Golgari Charm would do it.
I don't know about that Edict, honestly.
Didn't seem entirely necessary.
That was not needed.
Brainstorm. Burchett with Brainstorm, Young Pyro, Delver, presumably, and a Colligan's Command. Although it is a checklist card, so, she could be playing Breakneck Rider.
That's it.
But it is not enough for Marco Dagana. It means that Autumn Burchett continues her undefeated run here at GP Birmingham. She's showing her mastery of the Legacy format with a 6-0 run so far, which of course means, Raf, that she has made her way into Day 2 all locked up. Still some Magic to play today, of course, but Day 2 appearance locked up for Autumn Burchett there.
She will be on the starting blocks.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Day 2.
Very true. So, my friends, we're going to go to a break. Stick around, however, because on the other side of this, more Legacy coming away from GP Birmingham. It's been great to have you so far. We're looking forward to your company in the future. Stick with us. We'll be back in just a few. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the tournament floor here at GP Birmingham. My name's Ron, and I'm joined by Raphael Levy. It is time for some more Magic. It is time for Legacy, specifically, of course, and we're getting underway with more Time Walk Magic here at Win and In. Gary Campbell, the godfather of Scottish Magic. He's playing Pascal Vieren on Elves. Pascal, well known, I would say, around Europe as one of Belgium's premier players. Gary Campbell, perhaps a name that not so many people know, Raf, but I can tell you this man, he's got a place out of power. He's been playing since the beginning of the game. He owns a shop up in Dundee in Scotland, and I would say most, if not all, of the Scottish contingent playing here this weekend are playing with his cards.
All right.
He is a benevolent. He's a benefactor for the entire Scottish community.
Scottish Bank.
the Scottish Bank. That's it. He looks after everyone. But he's not looking after Pascal Vieren with a Chalice of the Void on turn of 1 for him, and there's going to be a steep uphill battle for the Belgian.
There's hope on Pascal's side.
Yes, he could find a Reclamation Sage.
And Natural Order, and he has Natural Order in his hand.
Okay, all right. Well, he's all in on that one then.
Can Gary deal with Return to Behemoth?
Well,
he could.
This
Bridge?
this mono red prison deck has a number of pretty unorthodox cards when it comes to Legacy. Hazaret the Fervent, Pir and Kira Nalar, but then of course 4 Magus of the Moon, 4 Blood Moon. We may be indeed even seeing one of them right now. Indeed, a Blood Moon will come down, and Vieren doesn't waste any time in cracking that Misty Rainforest here.
Oh man, that's brutal, because now Pascal does not have the second green mana to cast his Natural Order.
He's going to have to draw a forest off the top of his deck. Au Natural here. And Gary Campbell playing this list that I think has sort of come to prominence in Legacy in recent weeks, I think. I mean, it's been around for a while, but it's certainly gotten a lot better recently, or it's certainly gained more attention recently. Playing Ensnaring Bridge, playing Trinisphere, and critically playing Chalice of the Void. Just so good against a lot of what the Legacy format can do. Here's a Morph face down.
Oh, that's a way to attack as well.
A Birchlaw Rangers.
Yeah. I think Pascal has about 2 outs.
Okay. And
to
what
get
are
out of the situation. He has a second basic forest.
Okay.
And Reclamation Mage. Everything else is... he also has 4 Green Sun Zenith.
The Green Sun Zenith is a nice one as well, yeah.
But he needs 4 lands for that.
That is true. He has a lot of ways to find that Reclamation Sage, but whether he can do it is another thing entirely.
He needs another land and the Green Sun Zenith.
Campbell, nothing further to add to the board just yet. 2 very hateful cards on his side of the battlefield. Unusual for such a lovely man, playing these hateful cards. But that is the way that it goes.
He can just attack with... Oh, no, never mind. That was also a pretty good play.
Okay, flipping the Birchlaw Rangers.
So he get the second green.
Ah, right. Yes.
To cast the rest of his hand.
Well, now we're going to see
an
Elvish Visionary.
That's a pretty good way to play around the Blood Moon.
Draw a card. Campbell down to 16.
Yeah, there's also 1 Birchlaw Ranger in the deck. That's the only one.
That's the only Birchlaw Ranger. Yeah. Oh, well, he found it. There you go.
So he can actually cast more spells now, since he can tap 2 of his untapped elves to... Oh, and he does have the Green Sun Zenith. Oh!
Kozilek's return, however, has something else to say about this. I mean, what can Vieren do here? He can't cast his 1-drops.
I was, for a second, I was in... Pascal Vieren's shoes. I was like, I feel good about this one. Because next time I'm gonna go Green Sun Zenith, gonna destroy the Chalice, or the Chalice, then Glimpse, then play all my hand, and go off. But all of a sudden, not so much.
But Vieren is holding I mean, this is what happens with Elves. It is holding a hand that is full of 1-drops, and Chalice of the Void so powerful against so much of the Legacy format. It's not only Elves, but I mean, look at these Delver decks. Look at the 2 Delver decks we saw in this round.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All
these the Void is great.
All these 1-drop cards. It's insane.
It's just hard to play, because if you play Chalice for 1, what kind of deck are you gonna play?
Well, the mono red prison deck has a range of cards that again are a little unorthodox, and some of them are very, very new. We mentioned Hazaret the Fervent. Do you know what else is seeing play in mono red prison now? Khan.
Karn? Oh,
The
yeah.
newest Khan.
That's pretty
Khan,
good.
sign of Ursa. I mean, gets cast off those basic mountains real nice.
Pretty good, yeah. No, there's also some Loam decks play Chalice of the Void.
Yep.
Lands, sometimes lands play Chalice of the Void.
Yeah, because they just can't or don't want to play 1-drops anyway. Back to Campbell now. I mean, he can safely have a Chalice on 2 as well, actually.
Yeah, most of his spells cost 3.
Cost 3 or more, yeah, and that's why we see Chrome Mox, we see Ancient Tomb, City of Traders, because Campbell's really looking to get those 3-drops down as early as possible. Blood Moon, Magus of the Moon, Trinosphere, what have you. Trinosphere, another reason not to play cheaper cards. Another card that is so hard to deal with. Here's a Scavenging Ooze now for Vieren. And another Kozilek's Return. It's going to clean up the...
Scavenging Ooze.
As well as that Magus of the Moon. And Campbell's just... I mean, he's locked him up. He's locked him up. He's just got to throw away the key.
Did you just do the Reclamation Mage? Sage, sorry.
It is a Rec Sage.
Oh, that's...
Aw.
That's... It's gross, man.
Do you know what Campbell has in hand, however, Ref?
Another one?
Another Chalice. So that is actually going to be very difficult now for Vieren. That's his one out, essentially, against the Chalice. But Campbell can now just play a second one, and there's no real way for Vieren to get that back in his hand. He can't bounce the Reclamation Sage with something like a Wirewood Symbiote.
Because he can't cast it.
He can't cast the Wirewood Symbiote.
Oh, he would be. With the Green Sun Zenith.
Oh, with the Green Sun Zenith. All right. So Vieren is...
There's still
Vieren's
hope.
not out. He's not
There's
out.
still hope.
He's also got a clock on Campbell now, who has used 2 of his copies of Kozilek's Return, 3 in the board here. This is game number 2. I think we pointed that out already. Game number 2 with Campbell having picked up game number 1. Is it a lopsided matchup here?
I don't think so. I think it's can go either way.
Yeah.
The Mono Red Prison deck can just draw so many cards that don't do anything. Okay, that can be played around.
Ooh, and for a man who owns most of the Magic cards that have ever been printed, Gary Campbell is playing mismatched Blood Moons. I'm going to have a word with him about this afterwards, I think.
He's also playing 4 Fury Confluences.
Fiery Confluence, yeah. This card's enormous. If you haven't seen it, it can do a lot of damage very quickly. I believe it can do 6 damage upstairs.
Yeah.
For 4 mana. It's huge.
So it's 2 damage to a player, 2 damage to all creatures.
1 damage to all creatures.
1 damage to all creatures, and...
Destroy target artifact.
All right.
Yep, and you can choose 3. You can choose the same more than once. Then we have a Gaia's Cradle.
Look at this.
So does that lose the legendary subtype thanks to the Blood Moon?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, this is a replay in any case, so we can't do anything about it if that's not the case. But I mean, these guys.
I think they are basic mountains, but they're still called.
No, they're not basic mountains. It just says non-basic lands
that's
mountains.
right.
No, okay, there we go.
They are basic mountains called Gas Cradle, and they're still legendary.
Okay, all right. Well, in any case, Gaia's Cradle is going to hit the bin here. Do they become basic?
Huh?
Do they become
no,
basic?
they're not basic.
No, I didn't think that would. They just become mountains.
They're non-basic mountains.
Yep. So they lose all abilities, but not subtypes.
So that vegan ritual did not do much in this case.
Didn't do a whole lot. No, bowl of salad, chuck straight in the bin.
Yep.
Burnt up by the Blood Moon. Campbell sitting pretty here.
A 2/2 here to block the 2/1.
Yep. It's all coming up Cambo right now. It's all coming up Cambo. Attack with a Reclamation Sage. And Cambo's just going to take it here.
You know what could be good for Pascal here? That could be very good.
Go on.
Basic Forest.
yes,
Basic
I agree.
Forest would be awesome.
I agree with that assessment.
But it would be I guess it would be just okay. It would just bring a 5/5, a 6/6 haste guy.
So 4 Blood Moons on the battlefield for Gary Campbell right now. They are the most mountainous mountains you've ever seen, Raph.
How about mismatched Magus of the Blue of the Moon?
Oh my goodness. I mean, same set at least, but yeah, foil and non-foil. Discarding Glimpse of Nature here for Vieren. Doesn't need it. Can't cast it. And Vieren really just waiting for Campbell to close things out with a big play here. And this might be it.
Fiery
Confluence here.
Fiery Confluence. 1 to all creatures, 4 to you.
Yep.
Attack for 4.
So Vieren down to 11 and now down to 7. And the lights slowly but surely going out here for the Belgian player.
So now the Green Sun Zenith is not an out anymore. It would have got him the symbiote.
Yep.
But now there's no Reclamation Sage.
Fiery Confluence going to wrap things up here for Gary Campbell, the godfather of Scottish magic, showing the Hazoret and the Simian Spirit Guide in hand. Still got all these, he says. As Pascal Veron goes down, the Belgian unfortunately losing to the Scot there, but a great start here for Gary Campbell, and well-deserved considering this man has again, been playing the game for a very long time. A lot of these cards would have been, well, you know, he would have been there opening them out of boosters when they were first printed, and I guess for an old-timer like you as well, Raf, this Legacy format showcases cards you've been playing with for decades.
Yeah, now that I think about it, yeah, the mono-red prison deck against Elves might be a little more one-sided than I thought.
That we first saw.
With,
there we go.
Kazalik's Return with Fury Confluence.
Fiery Confluence, yeah.
With Chest of the Void, Blood Moon, that's a lot of cards. If the Elf deck doesn't go off right off the bat, that's pretty hard.
Given the fact that the Elves deck is a mono green deck, I would have thought that it would play a lot more than 2 basic forests. I was very surprised, but I guess it's a lot more reliant on things like Gaia's Cradle and whatever else to go off. Yeah.
So unless there's nothing coming off the red deck, then it's pretty hard for Elves.
Oh, well, there we go. That's the way it goes there. We do have another Time Walk match to bring you, ladies and gentlemen, so let's get to it right here. Zan Syed and Nicholas Holtman, 2 names you may have already heard. Certainly seen these guys around and about before. And both of these guys, of course, at 5-0, looking to lock up that Day 2 appearance with a win here, just as Gary Campbell did, just as Autumn Burchett did before him. So, Grixis Delver versus 3-color Leovold. I'm interested to see that a lot of these Emissary of Tress decks, Raf, seem to have dropped the red.
It's like you have to make short choices.
Yeah.
If you play Leovold, that's probably less spells you play. So you can't really play the Pyromancer. Like you can, but it's probably a choice you have to make.
No, sure, but often the Leovold decks have played 4 colors, just a very light red splash for things like Kolaghan's Command and maybe a Forked Bolt, that sort of thing. But we haven't seen that so much today.
But maybe it's not necessary.
Yeah, people obviously choosing for a slightly more consistent 3-color mana base rather than the completely outrageous 4-color mana base. That's what Nicholas Holtman has opted for in any case.
Yeah, when you fetch your lands. There's just so many choices you can have. If you have 2 lands in play, what do you want? Do you want Tropical Island and
Badlands?
And Badlands? No, you don't want that. You don't want Volcanic Island and what else? And Bayou. That just doesn't work so well.
No, especially if you're looking to cast cards like Hymn to Turak, which is something that Holtman is looking to do here. He doesn't want to play Volcanic Islands when he's looking to cast Hymn to Turak reliably on turn number 2. And once again, this deck is just a sort of an assembly of 1-ofs, 2-ofs, just the sort of all-stars of Legacy. But, of course, let's not forget, 4 Brainstorm, 4 Force of Will, 4 Preordain instead of Ponder. Nicholas Holtman has been very active on Twitter as one of the people, and there are other ones as well, who have been pushing Preordain above Ponder as the cantrip of choice.
I could see that. Without Delver, like putting the card back on top is not as important. So, for not having to fetch land, to shuffle the cards you don't want away, might be important as well.
For anyone who's interested in seeing more about this, just jump onto Twitter and have a look at Corey Burkhart, the American pro. Have a look at his Twitter page. And if you scroll down a little bit, you're going to see a conversation between him and a couple of other players, including Nicholas Holtman, that talk about Preordain and a good way to get across the ins and outs of this particular debate.
Basic Swamp and Gourmet Angler on one side against, well, nothing much on the Seed side, on Seed side of the board. And the good thing about the Angler is that it's black, so it doesn't die to Pyroblast. It's also 5. It's an X5. It's 5/5, so it doesn't die to a Lightning Bolt. Also, it costs 7, so it doesn't die to Fatal Push.
Yep.
So it's all around hexproof, kinda.
Yeah, it's got hexproof it's got hexproof from most removal spells in Legacy. Yeah.
And still dies to Diabolic Edict. Any hexproof creature.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it could be 5/5 hexproof.
It could just be a 5/5 hexproof.
It wouldn't change much.
No, not too much in the Legacy format. Be a lot better in Modern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
At least you can rely on your Terminates and that sort of thing. Here's a Ponder for Zan Syed. And I have to apologise, I did make a mistake. There is a thread between Corey Burkhart, but it's not Nicholas Holtman. It's actually Andreas Peterson.
All right.
Andreas Peterson, another huge proponent of the of playing Preordain above Ponder, and it's a very interesting debate. Andreas Peterson talks about Preordain being better with Snapcaster, and get across it.
In Modern, you have Ancestral Visions or Opt. It's also another debate.
Serum Visions.
No, Ancestral Visions in Blue-White Control.
Sure.
That's another debate.
You're just automatically playing Serum Visions?
Well, that's probably the...
Okay.
It's the auto one-up.
Auto include?
Auto include, yeah.
I prefer Opt. I like Opt.
I like Serum Visions.
I think Opt. I mean, I think Serum Visions is probably better on the abstract.
Are we getting to that debate now?
I like it with Snapcaster Mage, man. Leave up 3 mana for whatever you need, and then just flash back an Opt end of turn. Feels good. Zanside right now, go to town with the Young Pyromancer. It's going to be in response to this Gitaxian Probe. We're going to have a Diabolic Edict, and you can see exactly why. So the 2-1 died rather than that 1-1. Revealing a Snap Brainstorm here for Holtman.
That 5/5 is just too big. How do you deal with that 5/5? Do you fight it with... what do you fight it with? With fire?
You could fight with fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just 10 them when you have your 8 lands in play.
I don't think you can even do 10.
I don't actually think you could. I don't think...
with Desperate Shaman, maybe.
Maybe with Desperate Shaman. That would probably be the only way that a lot of like Tier 1 Legacy decks would be able to kick a fight with fire.
Like all their 6 lands on the board.
And they've got enough Desperate
Shaman.
Shamans.
And 4 Desperate Shaman. I think they have 10 with the Wasteland. They have 6. They usually have 6 lands that produce colored mana, 4 Wastelands and 4.
Okay, yeah, they probably...
So that's 14 mana.
They could probably get there.
They could even fork it with... Maru Neha or whatever her name is.
Or just play like a Reverberate. Yeah. Or just actual fork.
Yeah, actual fork. Well, but 14, that was pointing out the 10 plus 4.
Yeah.
That's how much mana you can have.
Yeah. So, coming to a Legacy format near you, Fight with Fire, the new meta. Here's a Brainstorm now for Zayed. He's got a fetch line as well to activate.
Oh, that's a way to deal with Gourmet Angler.
Dead and Gone?
Is Dead Gone?
Dead and Gone, yeah. He's just freshly ripped that one off of the Brainstorm there.
Is he going to be able to cast it? Yeah, there's no counter.
So weird. We don't often see bounce spells in red.
But this one is a good one.
So for those of you who don't know what Dead and Gone does, it's a shock on one side, dead, or it can only target creatures, and then Gone is 3 mana, instant, unsummon.
Opening creatures, I think.
Yes, sorry. You don't control. Yeah. Yeah, weird card.
I like it. My last PT top 8, I played this card. That's a long time ago.
Yeah,
I still remember
you probably shouldn't have said that, dude. Oh, dear. Zanside now. Corrects that polluted Delta and plays a Deathrite Shaman. He's going to have to take a bit more of a pasting from this old mate Zombie Fish here. Back to Holtman now. In comes the 5/5, and Syed now down to 3.
Leovold.
And that's going to be rough now. No? Okay. Just a Baleful Strix. All right. Okay, that's better stuff now, because that means that Syed can safely cast the Gone. But the thing is that the Fish will just come back down, right? It's only a temporary answer to it.
Well, it's...
Holtman's getting close to having enough dredge cards. Delve cards, I should say.
It's 4 cards?
4 cards in the bin.
Hard cast it.
Mm-hmm. It's looking rough for Syed, who I don't even... I mean, does he even have an answer to it in his list? He's got an Edict in the board, but that's pretty bad against opposing Baleful Strixes. Back to Syed now. Off the top. He's got to peel real good.
No, he can also exile lands from... I don't know if Niklas has lands, but keep him away from delving the...
Oh, yeah,
angler.
sure. Okay. All temporary solutions, however.
That's true.
All temporary solutions. So Syed is going to be able to cast Gone, the Gone half of Dead and Gone.
Yeah. Now You're Gone. That's a famous title from the Swedish DJ. Angler Hunter. No, Bass Hunter. Now You're Gone.
Angler Hunter, good. I like that. I like that. Bass Hunter.
Bass Hunter.
Yeah.
Angler Hunter. Now You're Gone.
It was a stretch, Raf, but that was pretty good. That was pretty good. Some pretty good gear for you there,
I've
dude.
been on it for the last 3 minutes.
Yeah, you were sitting there working. I was like, oh, somehow Bass base. I can get there somehow.
Well, Angler Hunter.
Here's a Leovold. This may provoke a response here from Zan Syed. Both of these players at 5-0, looking to keep that unblemished record. You've got to hustle hard if you want to make it in the big leagues, and both of these fellas are doing, or trying to do exactly that. Here's a volcanic for Syed, and I think we're going to see gone.
Now you're gone.
Get out of here, he says. Goes down to the fish. I don't remember inviting you to this barbecue. Why are you all up in my grill? Oh, Pyroblast, all right. Counter it. So it's just...
Oh, no draw. Oh, no, counter. Oh, he just played it.
Yeah.
That's what we mentioned earlier.
Wasteland on the Underground Sea. And now, with the activation of the Deathrite Shaman, get rid of that Wasteland here, and it's going to be dead and gone. So just go, well, not...
Just gone.
Just gone. Just gone. It's not a fuse card. And Zanside's life total gets halved by the Baleful Strix.
And 1 life, so no more fetch.
No more fetches. Doesn't have a great way to claw himself back into it. We will see a Pyroblast now on the Baleful Strix. So clearing the board.
Attack. No attacks. Oh, yeah. Take 1 mana.
And gets rid of that Wasteland and plays another Deathrite Shaman here. And a Delver. So he is dumped his entire hand onto the battlefield. And it looks like Holtman is going to be able to recast the
Angler.
The angler this turn.
The big fish.
The big fishy boy. Two cards back on top. Brainstorm and another land. Looks like an Underground Sea there. And we're going to see the Underground Sea played immediately with a Gurmag Angler exiling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards. And Syed once again put to the task.
Pretty good sequence.
Off the top, it is a Spell Pierce. That flips the Delver.
So he could potentially, like, stabilize here.
Okay. All right.
He can, like, triple block the Angler, gain 2 life from the... Does he have a creature?
The Deathrite can activate the other Deathrite.
He can activate the Deathrite Shaman to gain 2 life. He will lose his entire board, and he will only have to deal with the Strix. He would be on 2, facing a Strix, and his opponent with like 5 or 6 cards. But I think that's his line here. Oh, but considering there's a Fatal Push and an Abrupt Decay and Nicholas Sand, I don't think it's going to be the... It's going to be... We're going to see it stabilize anytime soon.
Bayou now for Holtman. Things looking rough here for Syed as we see Fatal Push on the Insectile Aberration. That's not very good. That's not a good sign.
And he's going to flip the bird sideways to
yep.
the last one.
For the last point of damage. What has Syed got here? It looks like the Insectile Aberration is going to hit the bin. And with that, an Abrupt Decay on the Deathrite Shaman. That's going to provoke a response, and that response is a concession from Zan's side. As we welcome you back to the booth, ladies and gentlemen, my name's Riley. I'm joined, of course, by Raph. It's been a great pleasure to host this round for you, and we'll be back before the end of the day. But we're going to close things out for our win and in rounds. The next pair coming in, of course, Simon Gertzen and Tim Willoughby will be joining you for live coverage of round number 7. So don't go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss it, my friends. We'll see you back here at GP Birmingham just after this.